try and figure one out. Morning, everybody, and welcome to Talking Niagara with myself, Peter Giblett, and him, Dave Wheeler.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Yeah, well, okay. So
I've got a little bit of announcement. I have that the donations that we've been collecting at Staples, called the School Supply Drive in unit Staples and Kiwanis combined, has collected over $9,000 now. That's $3,000 over our very best year. Our very best year was 6,200, and we collected $9,000 so far. We're the best in the district. We are the very best in the district, and of 20 stores, and I think second overall in Ontario. I mean, there's like 200 stores or something like that. Staples stores are well over 100 anyway, and if we're second, we're good.
Morning, Mike. Yeah, happy to have you along. The first article we've got up here is about your review article about the oily substance discharging into the Welland River.
Well,
or race materia article, actually, yeah.
Metaphysical Mike makes the headlines. He's our new environmental hero, kind of, in a sense.
I wish, no disrespect to Mike, but this is a story that really shouldn't be in the headlines, and it's for all the wrong reasons, because in fact, industry should be having clean processes.
Well, meaning it should be in the headlines because it was discovered, but shouldn't be in the headlines because it shouldn't have happened. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's exactly what I mean,
Now, the article goes on to talk about how Mike, a couple other people, including Sarah Ward, started a report on this, and and both him and Sarah, I think, submitted different reports to the ministry. And Cushman says it's seen a black sludge in the river. And ministry spokesperson Gary Wheeler, right?
No relation, I'm assuming.
Well, no, is he on the Dole line? No, it can't be related. Anyway, said it received two reports on September 6th of an oily substance discharging into the river. He said the ministry notified the city as owner and responsible for the storm sewer structure and which discharges into an unnamed creek that flows into the river. Anyway, so then, as Mike has told us before, the contractor was brought into it, and they put up the sort of socks in the river. They haven't yet been able to determine where it's coming from.
Yeah, and if I can, the picture of the socks in this particular article shows them really oil sodden.
Yes, and the oil substance discharging into the river doesn't look too healthy. The picture there looks odd, but it seems to be coming from a storm sewer that leads into the industrial park there off of Stanley. And I'm trying to figure out what they because I just opened the article this morning. Of course, the city contractors continue to monitor the cleanup material leaving the municipal storm sewer, but the city reported discharges are likely related to extensive work completed on the storm sewer in recent years, and this may be contributed materials that's being dislodged during heavy rains and water main flushing. Are they trying to say that it was construction material that got stuck in there, and then it got dislodged.
It sounds like it, but it also, here, I'm going to say this, it sounds like a line of bullshit sometimes.
Well, yeah, it does. Well, I'm not so sure what they mean by that, whether or not they put new sewer lines in, and because of that, it helped dislodge what was laying back for a long time. It could have been historic. It could have been stuff dumped there a long time ago, and it's just getting dislodged. But obviously, it's coming from an industrial park, and it's oily and chemically, and it isn't a regular discharge too. It's not a continuous one.
Yeah.
So it comes and it goes. It's going to be hard to ferret out.
What makes it very difficult is that irregularity of it, because it's like when you have a car, your car or your motorbike or whatever that has an intermittent fault on it, but as soon as you take it anywhere near the the mechanic, it just starts working perfectly.
Yeah, and he talks about there was a separate incident, as what Mike told us. A milky substance was found last year, but that's a separate one.
Yeah.
And but I don't know. There seems to be two problems here, but the one that Mike's after here, he says, we worked with the ministry. Says that too was reported by Cushman 1 year ago. Or reported seeing a white substance going into the Welland River from the same stream. A year later, he found an oily substance coming from the same spot. Cushman said he's concerned that the ministry and the city deal with the issue. Wildlife is suffering. I feel the wildlife has already been harmed. I ride my bike down there all the time because I like the nature there. And in this particular stream, when we used to look at over the side, you could see like 18 frogs sitting in the log. Now nothing. There's no frogs there. Frogs are a very easy way to test the environment because they breathe through their skin. If there's no frogs, that's a very big sign that there's something wrong. Yeah, they could be the canary in the coal mine. The frog in the stream could be like the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
It's something wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so we got some. There was a dumping yesterday, and sludge yesterday. And good morning, Randy West. And by the way, just wanted to let everybody know, my profile on LinkedIn is also taking this live stream every day now.
Okay.
Yep.
We must be on our best behavior.
Yeah. Okay.
And it also says here, it's not a continuous flow. It goes for a little while, and then it rains, and then it happened again, and then it stops, and it doesn't seem to have any pattern to it, and it's a couple of different changes in substance. I think the industrial park is obviously the number one culprit here. It has to be identified, but he said the upstream path was into the city storm sewer in the Stanley Avenue Industrial Park.
Yeah.
It says, and we've been for the last few months doing flushing and CCTV inspection of the system. It's a large sewer system, and we've been flushing material downstream in order to try to clean the pipe to get to, I'll call it zero state or state of cleanliness. Well, that's all really nice, but and he says we at least know that it's not legacy discharge.
Yeah. And Mike is saying that it's more than one chemical and it's more than one factory, he believes.
Yeah, if they're all using that same storm sewer, and like I said many years ago, all the drain lines used to just go into the water lines in industrial parks. It is big industries have had to change their drain systems to go into holding areas. where they can be treated.
Right.
And that happened. I remember that. I believe it was the Niagara power station I was working on. They had to spend a lot of money directing their drains, the water drains there, because it would get all kinds of grease and chemicals and all kinds of things. You can imagine the spills and things. If you're working on machines, the lots of oil spills, chemical spills, and things like that. But maybe these smaller industries haven't had the wherewithal to do that kind of thing, or the city is supposed to have done it for them. I don't know. I think they're probably anytime they washed, even if they washed down an old diesel machine just to clean it up, they might. You can imagine the diesel oil and stuff like that being gone down the drain along with the soap.
Mike basically says Washington Mills has a water treatment system where the water is returned cleaner than the water that was drawn into the system.
Yes, that's the kind of thing you're supposed to have. Now, these smaller units in the Stanley Industrial Park may not have those facilities, and that may be the source of the problem.
Yeah. All right, let's move.
There was remember Roman cheese. Roman cheese was putting their the draining there. I believe it was Roman cheese, but forgive me, that was close to the Niagara Square.
Yep.
Their locations there. They were draining. Do you remember that one?
They were, Roman cheese out in Niagara Square. Yes. There was a problem there. Yes, a few years ago. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yes, it was them.
Now they were draining their whey water. I think it was what they used to make cheese. I believe it was that, and they were draining it, and it was flushing down their lines into the sewers there, into the water sewers, which normally probably wouldn't have been that much of a problem for the environment, because I think it was mostly organic. But whatever was in that way broke down the concrete in the sewer, and so it dissolved the concrete, and that was a problem. And I think they had to repair that, and it took them a while to figure out why that thing was collapsing, or why a concrete pipe like that should have lasted hundreds of years was falling apart.
Yeah.
I think it was the whey product. So you never know where these things are coming from.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so I don't know whether we covered this yesterday, but the 58-story twin tower plan for the Oaks Hotel property is one that was discussed at the city council last Tuesday, and there was a zoning bylaw amendment to facilitate two 58-story mixed-use towers atop a 7-story podium with 1,140 hotel units and 126 residential units.
Yeah, there's
and of course commercial stuff.
Our buddy Paul Kalamir doesn't like this. Doesn't like the development because he says it is not architecturally unique. He calls them two monoliths going up into the air without any real thought to design or sort of unique architectural structure. It's just two big slabs of concrete and glass going up into the air. He thinks it doesn't benefit the skyline at all, and it does show a picture of what it would look like. Now, obviously,
I would tend to agree. Now,
obviously, the reason why they did it like this is so that they could get as many units facing the river or the falls as possible. But it has very limited, it's just it's a very useful structure in that way. It goes up, it looks at the falls and the river, and I can imagine the views are perfect, really nice in what would be quite a nice view. However, It does look like two monoliths sitting in the sky. Like that's how Paul described it. He likened it to the monoliths in 2001: Space Odyssey. You never know. Maybe an alien. Maybe an alien.
I get what he's coming from, and these, like, concrete slab buildings, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the old stone jungle, the concrete jungle. Concrete and glass.
Nothing interesting about them. Just a concrete square flat slab. It's not even got any. It's not even got any architectural. Where you could put kind of glass domes or something like that. It's not got that kind of thing even to it.
Yeah, and it wipes out some of my personal history, because the Oaks Drive is a place we used to hang out and party a lot. So I think that should be reserved for historical heritage, with a little plaque outside.
Dave Wheeler hung out here. Yeah, I think we can put a little plaque up, Dave. Little. Here, have a quick look. Little. All right. Little plaque up that says David Wheeler hung out here. Right.
Well, that's where that hotel is, where I watched Canada win the Team Canada beat the USSR in the last game of the Canada-Russia series. Back then, we were in there going insane when we finally won. And there was a couple of girls in there that I was talking to, and they were just American girls, and they couldn't understand what was going on. It happened in September, and here's a hockey game on TV, and all these guys, and none of them were paying attention to them.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So, did the city approve this? I'm guessing they did.
Yeah, there are some conditions, of course, archaeological conditions, wind. There are wind studies that have to be done. And on Paul's show the other day, I think it was Peter Dichter pointed out that it would change the microclimate of the area, because it would possibly change the wind and how the wind works, and the microclimate of the area may be affected. So those are kind of issues that have to be looked upon. But they're in the study itself. They're in those conditions are put into the agenda, Niagara Falls City agenda.
They were already in the agenda as far as the developers were concerned.
Yes, I have a problem with it because of the amounts of traffic. They're going to have I think a 7-story parking garage close to it to accommodate for the automobiles of the place. It would be stunning to live there and overlook the falls, and it would be fabulous from the inside looking out. But from the outside looking at it, it is a kind of a nondescript concrete jungle type of.
Yeah,
it could be apartment building.
It's got nothing that kind of makes you go, "Oh, I like that."
That's right. No thought was put into the aesthetics of it, and we want a unique skyline here. We do. We're Niagara Falls. We should have. We are a unique place in the world, and unfortunately, we get these hackneyed ideas, and we're always sort of a little bit behind. We should be leading edge, at least in our architectural and artistic or presentation. But go ahead.
Even the Marriott has got some style in comparison to these on those pictures.
Yeah, let me be quite clear here. There's going to be a lot of jobs, though. There's going to be something like I don't know how many million man hours of work has to go into building these. So that's a lot of work there for the people locally around here.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. Thereafter, when it's built, there'll be I think a constant staff of around 600. So jobs, jobs, jobs. Now that's a positive thing, as I can see, is how much jobs are going to be coming of the.
You mean 600 even in the winter?
Yeah,
that seems high for the winter.
I don't know how many might be part time and what might be full time. I don't think it breaks it down.
Okay, no, I get that, and at this stage they wouldn't break it down. I think that's a bit. I can see 600 jobs when it's in the summer when it's full, not in the winter unless there's some things we haven't seen. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why they say this is truly iconic, world class. They're getting into the world class thing. Anytime everybody says it's classy, it's world class, that implies the opposite. When somebody says I'm classy and this is classy, it sounds like, it sounds so nouveau riche. It sounds a bourgeois.
Yeah.
Use the terms that used to be used for that kind of thing. It's like, it's kind of like somebody getting a Velvet Elvis and putting it on the wall and say, wow, that's really classy. So that idea of class was really classy. I wish they'd stop doing that because if you go around telling everybody how classy you are, it implies the exact opposite. And then when somebody says, yeah, that's really classy, it sounds like somebody who doesn't know what class is and thinks thinks a gigantic gold chain around somebody's neck is classy just because it looks ritzy.
Okay, so Mike asked the question, who is the operator for this? And this is owned by Hennepin Reality Holdings and Hennepin View Inc. They're the ones who created the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment request.
Yeah. Another thing I'd like to point out here, there's nothing in this about affordable housing.
Well, of course there isn't, because it's 150 units of, it's 150 housing units. It's not affordable housing. This is going to be the top, these are going to be $1 million apartments.
Yeah, these plans over and over and over again that get sustained, that get the green light from city council. And I don't blame them for giving them the green light. There's only so many things they can hold against the development like this. No councilor is going to be able to stand up and say this isn't a unique enough architectural building.
No, that's not.
Yeah,
not
so
part
that's
of their remit.
That's not reason to stop it.
Yeah,
but they can say stuff like, they can go ahead and say things like that. Well, we're quite ready to approve these big towers, but how come we're not so eager to insist that at least some of those things would be affordable? Yeah. You're looking in an area there. I think that some of them should be affordable. I think there should be a mix in there.
Well, yeah.
Somebody has to step forward and
affordability, though. Affordability. Let's be blunt about this. I don't think affordability comes by putting some. You can't build affordability by making 126 residential units in a hotel affordable. That isn't gonna happen.
I don't see why not. Like I seriously think that there should be some sort of, I don't know. I guess
in years gone by,
there should be some sort of offset on this. Like they should have a few affordable units in it, even if it's to middle class, even in the lower level floors or something.
Well, I was going to say, in years gone by, you would have built, when you built a hotel like this, you'd have probably put 100 units in there for hotel staff, for the hotel staff to live in, so that they were, they were on site.
Yeah, in this case, they probably make a shack out back to house their temporary foreign workers. Seriously, like the
Well,
now the other thing I have to say about this is just that we're quick and ready to put the green light to something like this, and I'm really glad it's going to bring jobs into the area, and the construction phase of it's going to bring a lot. I was a construction guy, right? Industrial construction, but nevertheless. So there's going to be a lot of iron workers getting some good money out of this. There's going to be glazers and you name it. I hope to use union workers. But anyway,
all right.
The city seriously has to embolden some developers to build affordable units. And so you get the report that some of this building will be affordable, some of that, but nowhere near what we really need. What we're doing by building things like this is attracting people from outside our city, basically, and we're not taking care of our own. And I think that by taking care of our own is what should be the priority of the city. Of course, they need things like this to keep tourism going and to help facilitate more and more tourists and things like that. So yeah, it's going to be.
I don't argue with the need to keep to take care of our own, but I don't expect it to actually ever come in a development like this. I'm generally speaking, I think it's way too high, but I'm not in favor of massive, oversized buildings anyway.
Well, I'm worried about a helicopter hitting
it. Yeah. I get where you come from. Okay. All right. Moving on. Wayne Campbell didn't break the council's code of conduct when he used profanity. He basically replied to a downtown business person, Jody Burdett, who filed a complaint with the municipality's integrity commissioner back in April, saying that Campbell used profane language when replying to an email. He said, apparently this was, hello, Jody, you can whip cream, but you can't beat shit. Yeah. Nice try on both ends.
Well, yeah, it's rather crude. And I think Wade Campbell's kind of an old school guy. He speaks the kind of jargon that wouldn't be too out of place on the construction sites that I was at, or the steel mills, or other kind of things. However, there is wait a minute. I got a phone call coming in. Hello?
Good morning. It's Justin calling from Lead Mechanical.
Yeah?
I was wondering if I could come by a few minutes early, take a look at what's going on with this leak in the ceiling.
Oh, okay. Sure. What time do you want to come in?
I could start heading there now. I'm on Bridge Street, so I'd be a few minutes anyway.
Okay. Well, right now I'm doing a kind of a podcast, but I'll when you get here, I'll let you in. Okay.
Okay.
It's 103.
Is this your unit that I'm coming to?
Yeah, my unit. But this is where the leak comes to, but the leak is farther up.
Okay. Is there a buzzer number? Sorry, I don't want.
Yeah, just 103.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
There you go. Okay. So Burdett basically filed a complaint. And I have to say, well, I don't know. In some respects, I think it is a bit rude. He's a teacher. He should know better. Or he was a teacher. Right? He should know better.
Yes.
But in other respects, I'm like, well, it's not that profane.
No, but I can imagine some of the discourses between the Jody Burdett. Jody is a different kind of guy. He is the spokesman for the so-called Shadow Council of Niagara Falls. He approves or disapproves of anything they approve or disapprove. Maybe not in the same order, but he does. And I think he was part of the problems that were happening in the downtown BIA. So they have anyway. I don't think it's cost the city a lot of money here anyway to have a commissioner look at this, integrity commissioner look at this. Unfortunately, that's the unfortunate part of it. And Jody put up $500 to register the complaint, and then he got his $500 returned to him. So basically, I don't know what else to say about that, but you know that Wayne Campbell said it was his old football or hockey coach that he was quoting there, and I have a feeling that from other people who have told me they've had interactions with Wayne on the phone or at different times, that yeah, he can use some choice language at times. But you know what? If he used it with me, I wouldn't care. Because
I've spoken with Wayne Campbell on a few occasions. Never heard any profane language out of him.
Yeah.
Right. But that's, you know, that just may have been the circumstances that I was in.
Yeah, indeed. No, yeah. You know that I'm gonna have to go soon.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, I'll wait till that buzzer comes.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one we've got here is, despite a record year in recruiting new doctors, Niagara shortage increased due to population growth. So offers of cash luring doctors to Niagara might still not be enough to get them here.
Well, we had a story last week or two there where Welland was attracting doctors, and they were giving them $100,000 up front, and that was able to bring them in. And the idea seems good, but what it's really doing is just setting up a competition among different cities, and those cities with less resources, of course, will get less doctors. Do you imagine places like Kenora or Geraldton or Schreiber, way up north, towns like this, even places that have good hospitals like Sault Ste. Marie or even Parry Sound, how hard it would be for them to attract doctors?
Yeah.
There are some people that will want to go there because it's a nicer area. I would definitely would love to be a doctor around Parry Sound or something. I mean, you got Georgian Bay right there. It's just Sault Ste. Marie is really cool too, or Sudbury and places like that. Sudbury's got a really nice hospital there, but you can't get doctors up there, and particularly new doctors coming into the country that come from warmer climates. Can you imagine if they went up to Sudbury for a winter, right? It got 40 below. My God, I remember when I was in Peterborough and they had students, Libyan students, going to Sir Sanford Fleming there, and the weather dipped to 19 below. You didn't see any of them anywhere for days because the weather was too cold. They stuck their nose out and wouldn't come out.
I had I had an Englishman who was at a business meeting in Montreal, and he basically told me that it was like a 600-meter walk from the hotel that he was in to the client company offices. But for that 600-meter walk, because it was minus 40 outside, he hailed a cab and took the cab there. Not minus 40, but it was pretty damn cold out there. It was like about minus 25 or something. And he hailed a cab just to go across the street.
And I remember a Lebanese guy, actually. He was a combination Lebanese Syrian guy that I used to work with, and of course his cities are probably getting devastated right now if he's still around there. He told me that his brother had moved to Montreal, and how he described it. He says, I walked out the door and I was frozen. I couldn't move. It was so cold. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
And then other people were, but I couldn't.
Well, actually, the thing is, if you got off an airplane from, let's say, the middle of, middle of the jungle, middle of the desert, I mean, and then you landed in the Arctic Circle, you could have, a negative like 70 or 80 degree temperature change quite easily.
Yeah.
Right. And no animal could take such a temperature change so rapidly. But if you walked from the desert to that location, you'd acclimatize along the way, and you wouldn't feel, yes, it would be cold, but you get used to it.
Well, anyway. That's what we're going to have to. Yeah. Well, I do remember a Palestinian guy I talked to once he got into Canada, as they used to do in those days. They used to try to spread everybody all over Canada, and you were supposed to stay where you were put. And a Cambodian guy but nobody ever did. A Cambodian guy and a couple other people told me they were supposed to go to Calgary for 5 years. They were put there. The day after they were put there, they were on a plane to Toronto, and there's nothing an immigration could do. But this Palestinian guy tried to cooperate, and where did they put him? They put him in the Arctic Circle. And they put him on, and they found a job that was in line with his skills, and it was on a boat in the Northwest Passage.
Oh no!
So the guy comes into Canada, and he goes to where they want to go, which is in the Arctic Circle, and his job's on a boat in the freezing sea. He said he lasted a week before he begged the immigration people. He says, I can't handle this. I've never seen anything like this before. And they let him they let him go back to where back into more southern areas. But that's the kind of thing the immigration used to do. You can imagine what's going on there. But in any case, I should drag up right now and get ready for the plumber. These are people I've been waiting for a while. I have a persistent leak in there. Maybe we can just touch on something a little bit before.
Well, Block basically says that they're looking at as soon as next week the possibility of toppling Trudeau if their demands aren't met. And there was already a vote in relation to their old age security question that was supported by all the opposition parties and no Liberal support.
Yeah, this is the Bloc said, okay, now the NDP is your NDP girlfriend has gone, and now it's us available, but we are a high maintenance girlfriend, basically. So if you're if high maintenance escort, I should say, this is if you want us on your side, you want to date us, you are going to have to give us this. And what they want initially is a boost in the OAS for seniors to match the one that they gave to seniors 75 and older. They want to give seniors more money between 64 and 75. That same top up they had given seniors from 75 and older. The problem here is it's going to cost the government a lot of money, and a government that's already
16 billion over Yeah, it's going to cost the government $16 billion over 5 years,
which the government can't afford. However, the NDP, of course, like it because it's the kind of thing they do. But ironically, this is the kind of thing that the Conservatives would have voted against because it would have cost the country too much money. But in this particular case, they're playing politics and are voting on behalf of the Bloc. And this is another sort of strategy they have to topple the government. Now, the Liberals are against it and have been against it and have voted against this previously. But in order for them to stay afloat, they might have to go along with this, but they don't want to. So they're really in an odd position here where they now will have to rely on the NDP again, because the Bloc will vote against them if they don't take on this bill.
Yeah.
And if the NDP does, it's sort of against their sort of ideology, basically, of their socialist sort of slant. So they would be betraying that. However, they may vote for the help the Liberals in this particular case because I don't think they're ready for an election. This could be the thing that stops the government in their tracks. Somebody's even said that the only way out here for Justin is to prorogue the government, as Stephen Harper did when a scandal was breaking in the Conservatives. What he did was prorogue government so that they couldn't go ahead with that business that was embarrassing the government. Trudeau has already prorogued the government once, even though he said he'd never do it. He'd never be like Stephen Harper and prorogue the government. He did. He may do that again to save himself. But I think sooner or later they're going to have to come to the conclusion that an election has to happen. The government is not functioning, and the people want to change. They want their voices spoken, and of course, this is perfect time for Conservatives. They're way ahead in the polls. The Bloc's not worried. I don't think they think their percentage of the House will be eroded in any way. Okay, I gotta go.
It probably won't. All right.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna call it quits at that point then.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.